Hi everyone, it's Tanya MFK here with your 52 weeks of momentum lesson recap. We are in week 30, and I'm actually going to have the right week set now. It's week 30. If you watched the last ones, we were a little off, but it's week 30. We're 30 weeks in. And if this is your first time, welcome. I am Tanya Marie Figueras Kraisingr, more easily known as Tanya MFK. I am simply a member of Benjamin Hardy's 52 Weeks of Momentum course, and I come here every week to share all the insights, the highlights, the awesome things that I'm learning, because it's an awesome course and it basically needs to be shared with the world, right? This is in no way an actual substitute for the course, though, because clearly I'm not Benjamin Hardy. I don't have the amazing group set up for you that we have there, or all of the tools and amazingness, right? There's just so much. It's so robust. This is not that. But the least I can do is at least share the highlights and great things that I'm learning, because there are so many gems here that they deserve to be shared. Like, I'm mountaintop shouting, right? But I won't shout too much. I just get crazy. So anyway, welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm glad you're here. And this week is a really kind of different lesson, easy lesson, but there's so much great value. And the great thing about this is I'm going to go through some of this stuff, but you, no matter where you are, whether in the course or not, you can actually find this, because what this lesson was really kind of a review of a article that Benjamin Hardy wrote. And now this is everywhere. He just posted it today as we did this lesson. So I'm just going to do kind of a walkthrough of it, some of the awesome things there, and then you can go read it yourself, because it's amazing. So this particular article is called, "If You're Not Changing as a Person, Then You're Not Intelligent," according to Albert Einstein, right? That's in parentheses. But like, bam, like go right for the cut, right? Like right in there. If you're not changing as a person, then you're not intelligent. So guess what we're going to talk about? We're going to talk about change, right? Change is such a big deal. And so let's jump right into it. So the first thing that he explained is that you change by learning. Learning is what you commit to memory and use. So a lovely thing that he mentions, like, memory is not about stacking and fitting more facts into a file cabinet, right? And that's, I think, what most of us kind of think memory is. It's like, how many things do I put in there, and they just kind of hang out there in that file cabinet, and I can pull it open when I want. And I've seen tons of metaphors and things out there that already kind of show it like that. He says that's not what memory is. He actually says it's about reframing. You learn something new, and when you implement it, it reshapes the whole system, right? So it's kind of a way, think of it like you burn your hand on the stove, right? And then you're like, that is no fun. That just hurt. That hurts, right? So it reframes the whole system, be like, things like that are hot. And I'm going to remember that like, that's not a good thing. And in the future, I will probably avoid other similar items, right? It reframes the whole system. You're implementing it. The memory is changing. It's a change that happens, right? So it's different. He says also it's a source of your identity, right? The things that you remember are also kind of become like how you define yourself. So the goal is not to just fit more stuff in. That's not how we change, not just like putting it in there. So he says, as you learn, you will change. And as you change, you will grow. Change doesn't mean that you have to be a different person. It means that you see the world differently. And I really like that, right? Change doesn't mean that you have to be a different person, but you're going to see it differently. And I think that happens a lot, right? As people go through experiences in life, they might come against situations with friends or family like, wow, you kind of changed. And it's not necessarily that you became a different person, but your perceptions changed. There was more information, new memories, new things that came in that changed the way you see things, right? And the way you see things now kind of is how you might approach things differently. Someone who might have anger issues, when they see kind of like what they're really coming from and kind of deal with that, then they're going to see things that used to trigger and upset them. They're going to start to see those differently. And when they see those differently, their behavior changes. And when their behavior changes, right, people will see them as differently, right? But there's still that person they were. They just don't get angry as easily or the same way, okay? So the next section of this is to improve is to change. To be perfect is to change often. I love that. Probably because I'm always trying to seek perfection. So I'm like, to improve is to change, but to be perfect is to change often. Now, if that counts with how much you rearrange your house, I am so perfect right now. So to change often, because I change it all the time. So let's go ahead. Like, that was kind of the intro, like, like chunk of what he was chatting to us about in the lesson. But now we'll go through some of the main points of the article because they're awesome. And then of course go read it and soak it in for yourself. So the first part he talks about, right? It's kind of like the different sections that are important that to look into implementing change in your life. I mean, this one can be a very personal and touchy one. Dive into this part if you need to in the article because it's fantastic. But the first section is really the importance of that parent-child connection. And he says, the first thing I want to say is like, it's not about, he says in the article, it's not about like sticking it out through toxic relationships. I know not everyone has the best situation with their parents or family, but it's the change that he's talking about getting implemented is, again, like your view of it and how you work with it and how you deal with it, right? Like, it's not about like pasting over something and just trying to make it okay. It's about like really figuring out how to create it healthy, whether the parent is alive, the parents are alive or dead. So he says in here is the goal is to actually improve beyond your parents. They're your launch pad. Like good or bad childhood, this is your opportunity to evolve beyond it, right? This is to take that who you are, where you came from, and now evolve beyond that, right? It's, a lot of people get stuck in that. We talked about that a long time ago, like frozen personalities was I don't know, maybe like lesson 10 or 11, something like that. It's easy to like see that and define yourself by that, and that's who you become. You like become that kid who was hurt by that. Instead, we see that's where we are, and then we go, that's where I came from, and we evolve beyond that. So he says, deal with the relationship of your parents, and see ways that you can find the love, honor, respect, or sympathy for them, whether they're around or not. This is the sign of a healthy, resilient life. And he said a lot of research actually shows that to be true. Like actually people who are more resilient have a healthy relationship with not say their parents, but like with that connection, with the understanding of it, right? Like it doesn't have to be they have a healthy relationship directly, but they've worked on it to be a healthy situation as they look on it. It doesn't become like, ugh, I can't even talk, I don't want to talk about it. I don't even want to deal with that, right? Like that's not a healthy thing, This is a strong place to change. So again, read the article, like super amazing. He gives some references as well. That's really important. The next section is relationship with your body and food. Right? The relationship with your body is the big area that you can implement change. And he says, does your body control you or do you control your body? And he poses these questions. How often do you impulsively check your smartphone? How often do you impulsively eat or put other substances in your body? How is your ability to focus for long periods of time? How in tune are you with your own intuition? How much time do you spend thinking about your physical appearance? How much time do you spend worrying about the opinions of others, right? And I'm sure all of us have like one part of that we see ourselves in. And he says, if you don't control your body, you can't control your mind. If you don't control your body, you can't control your time. If you don't control your body, then your life is far more impulsive and out of control than you realize. And I think that's huge, right? If you think about it, like if I am just mindlessly snacking, it might seem like not a big deal because again, like everybody does it. But how out of control are you with your body and your life that it is just like doing things without your consent, without your conscious knowing of it? Like that is a really big red flag, right? In a lot of ways. And again, people don't think of it that way. But that's why we're here in this group, right? We're here to look and see these things differently. We're here to create that life by design. So it is time to start noticing those things. And if you're picking up your phone and just like not even realizing like, oh, holy crap, I'm on, Facebook. I'll be honest, like there's times when I'll go to a website and before I even know it, I'm like typing Facebook, like just literally out of habit. Like, and I won't even go actually onto Facebook because I really do need to go to the other website, but I'm like, how did I even type that? Like, how did FAC even get there? Like, it's scary in a way. Like, holy crap. Like, I've totally like trained myself to just go to Facebook, right? It's been around too many years. It's too easy. So yeah, one more time, I'm going to say, if you don't control your body, then your life is far more impulsive and out of control than you realize. And then he left a quote there. It says, if the spirit yields to the body, it becomes corrupt. But if the body yields to the spirit, it becomes pure and holy. It's a Brigham Young quote. So yeah, that section, again, all of this in the article goes like way more in depth, but these are just kind of like cool highlights that I thought were amazing. And these are really the main points of areas that you can change. So the next section is education through reading and experience. And the quotes, there's a couple quotes here, and they're really awesome. You will be the same person in 5 years as you are today, except for the people you meet and the books you read. So if we want to really have like some great change, who are the people that we're going to meet and or surround ourselves around? And what books are you reading? Like what are you putting in here? Next one is education is the most powerful weapon that you can use to change the world. Amazing, right? Nelson Mandela. So education is the most powerful weapon which you can use to change the world. So the more you know, ding, right? The next one is, where is the life we have lost in living? Where is the wisdom we have lost in knowledge? Where is the knowledge we have lost in information? This is T.S. Eliot. So he says that people avoid the unknown because it's unpredictable, right? And that makes sense, right? I mean, you're like, again, you can like present something as simple as going to an event and someone's like, I don't know, who's going to be there? What time would we get home? Like, and these are good questions. Yes, right? This is just an example. It's like, we fear the unknown, so we don't know. We're like, I don't know. I haven't done that before. I'm not sure. Or maybe just like going to a new restaurant. I don't know. I don't know. What if their food's not good? Like, we fear the unknown. We don't like it. We say it's great. Like, oh, new experiences. Yeah, everyone puts that on their dating profile or something. But really, like, the majority of people they fear the unknown. They don't like to not know, right? That like feels like that lack of self-control. But you can't get the knowledge of knowing without the experience, right? You can't. And that's why failing is such an awesome thing, right? That's why failing is so great, because you won't know how to make it better. You won't know how to fail forward until you fail. You won't know until you've gone through the experience. Thomas Edison is like a perfect example of that with his, like, I don't even know, I think it's over 1,000 like failed attempts at some of the things that he did to get to the few things we remember him for, right? But if he wasn't constantly like trying and failing and experiencing it, dealing with the unknown, we wouldn't, like, I might be in the dark right now, like literally and mentally. So I love that. I just think that's amazing. So there was another quote here. I think it is, the only way that we can live is if we grow. The only way that we can grow is if we change. The only way that we can change is if we learn. The only way that we can learn is if we're exposed. And the only way that we can become exposed is if we throw ourselves out into the open. Do it. Throw yourself. I think this is actually a Benjamin Hardy quote. Again, love everything about that. I think it's amazing. So another part where we can change ourselves is changing ourselves. Change yourself and you'll change the world, right? This is like the next section he has in the article. And there's, again, a couple quotes. Very quote heavy in this article, but they're really great ones and powerful ones. It says, be the change that you wish to see in the world, right? We've seen that, but I think you see it so much because it's so profound in such a couple of words. Be the change that you wish to see in the world. You want to see that, you starts here, right? Starts with you voguing. Yesterday, I was clever, so I wanted to change the world. Today, I am wise, so I'm changing myself. Good old classic Rumi. Right? It's all here. It's all here, right? Always starts here first. We always like to be like, but it's here. Here. It's all me. No, it's all us, right? It's all on us. And the next one is, success is not to be pursued. It is to be attracted by the person you become. Classic Jim Rohn. Love pretty much everything that man has ever said. So here's a couple of bullet points of what he says in the section. I love it. If you're not changing yourself, then you're not intelligent. That's like, ouch again, right? I think we need to hear it that way. So maybe if you can get kind of puffed chest, like, what? What do you mean? Well, then you're going to listen to the next step, right? Because you want to see. So whatever it takes, like, I like that he kind of like goes in for it. If you're seeking external success without changing who you are, then you're delusional. Another ouch. Like, kind of love the sassiness he gets over here, right? If you're seeking external success, right? I want to do so much. I want to be amazing. And you're not changing who you are, like, you're not even, it's not going to work. And you're just kind of crazy in the head, because that's not how it works. You don't just get successful. You continually change and become the person that serves others, right? That is how you start to bring success. And that's in any situation, whether you're making a product, whatever it is, it really comes down to that principle. If you're trying to make a powerful change in the world without changing yourself, then you're simply trying to force the world into a little box, right? Because if you're not really looking at yourself, you've just kind of created this one general, like, random view. Who knows where it's developed from, because you haven't really worked on yourself. You're like, this is how it should be. Everybody should get this. Let me go tell everyone, like, get in my box. Like, instead of being open to and wise and learning for yourself and experiencing that. Because in the end, probably if you were doing that, you wouldn't even be trying to, like, tell anyone, and you're just, like, going to exude it, right? Just, like, by your existence. People are like, wow, like, I want to do something different. I want to be with that person. Like, you know, it's powerful. When you begin changing yourself, you'll be equipped to change the world, right? I mean, no big. When you change yourself, you're just going to have the right tools to completely change the world, right? Not profound at all. If you seek to change the world, you'll be required to change yourself, right? It's kind of like the inverse of that. Like, guess what? If that is something you're really trying to do, you're like, I want to change the world. Again, I don't know how many times I can point at myself here, but it's happening a lot. If you're truly committed to something or someone, you will be required to become whatever that commitment entails, right? That's a big one. If you're truly committed to something or someone, you'll be required to become whatever that commitment entails. If you sufficiently transform yourself, you won't be able to stop yourself from helping others. And, you won't be able to stop yourself from helping others positively transform as well, right? And I can say this, like, I have friends will call, they're going through something, it's something simple, or even just complaining about traffic, and I'll find myself, like, kind of talking about a whole different thing. I'm not like, oh, I know, right? Like, LA traffic sucks. And it does. Don't get me wrong, guys. Like, if you're not from California, you haven't experienced LA traffic, it's, like, pretty much the worst, okay? But instead of getting there, I was like, yeah, so, like, did you get home on time? How was that? Like, the rest of your day? Well, it sounds like your day was pretty good. Like, by the end of that conversation, like, we're all just happy about, like, how great our day is. And there's been a change in me. There's been a change in kind of steering away from, like, jumping into, like, negative talk. And I have this whole thing that I'm personally living by, that I don't do bad days. I wish I could take a credit for that, but it's Michael Bloomberg was quoted as, like, why are you so great, successful, and happy? And I was like, I just don't do bad days. And I was like, that's a choice I want to make. And so I've done that. And I really see, like, I will not label my day as a bad day. I can get frustrated. I can have difficult moments, but the day was not bad. I've always had good days since. Amazing, right? So you'll see this, like, when you're transforming yourself, right? That was something for me. It's like I can't stop myself from doing the same thing and, like, giving the same information. And it's not a preachy thing. Some of it's just by my own responses to other people. They're like, oh, yeah, I didn't think of it like that. And other times, yeah, I might do what I'm doing now, show up on video and be like, oh, my God, there's all this amazing stuff. Everyone needs to know it this second. So, again, so true. Like, how much more true could that be? The last one in this section is changed people change the world. They light a fire in others because they are on fire themselves. Like, fire? Am I on fire? Because I feel on fire. And then this is kind of, we're wrapping up here. So another section he talks about is measuring the gain instead of the gap. Now, this is something we've talked about a lot in this course as well. This is a Dan Sullivan kind of specific in the terminology. The concept is everywhere. But Dan Sullivan specifically says, you know, one of the issues, especially with entrepreneurs, right? Because Dan Sullivan, he's the founder of Strategic Coach, and it's all about entrepreneurs and this stuff. So he says one of the biggest things with them is they tend to be doing so much, right? That the whole cliche of, you know, they're the only ones who will give up a 40-hour work week so they can work 80. You know, we're moving, we're doing so much stuff, we're going, we're getting all this done, and we're always feeling behind. We're always feeling overwhelmed. We're always feeling like, oh, there's just still so much more to do. There's not enough hours in the day. I still got to do this and I still got to do that. And he says the big problem and reason for that is because, especially, I mean, a lot of people do this, right? Especially entrepreneurs, we're always looking at the gap. We're looking at the section that we haven't completed yet. We're looking where there's a loss or something missing, and we're not looking at the gain. We're not looking back at, like, this whole trail of stuff that's been accomplished. Now, this absolutely 100% also is for your life, right? You might see these goals and things and you're like, oh, but I didn't get them there yet. But if you stop for a minute and you ask yourself, you know, you wrote out a vision. Where was I? Where were you 5 years ago? What were you doing? What have you accomplished in that 5 years? We actually did this exercise not that long ago, and I was like, oh, I mean, I didn't feel very accomplished in a lot of ways. And I looked at it and I was like, Well, see, I got married, I had a baby, I moved my entire family to Europe. I've traveled, the world for like a couple of years. I've started our business. I run this, and I was like, holy crap, I've kind of done a lot, right? I've kind of done a lot. And it doesn't negate like the goals that you have going forward, but your mentality, if your mentality is always focused on that gap, how motivated are you going to be to really move forward? And really, I mean, the simple old adage goes like, give yourself some credit. See where you've come, because I guarantee you've come far. Guarantee you have come far, right? So measure the gain instead of the gap, right? This is a place where you can implement change in your life. This is another part of that article. So then we're going to end with some of these questions he asks us to consider. How much have you changed in the past 12 months? How much have you changed in the past 5 years, right? Oh, convenient. What new challenges are you taking on? What new books have you read that have completely changed your paradigm? So many. Biology of Belief, like, whew, that was huge for me. What new relationships and experiences have opened you to a new world of possibilities? So many. What suppressed pain and trauma have you freed yourself from? Right? These are some big things I realized I was still like carrying and dealing with. And I was like, wow, like I didn't even know this is still here. And dealt with it. And I was like, like I feel so much better now. Right? My mind is like kind of not wrapped around these old beliefs. And amazing, right? Like I've come that far. Like I'm still there's more to go, right? There's always more to go. But like, yeah, I've done that. What bad habits have you finally given up? I was a smoker for a bazillion years. Like that's been done. What relationships have you healed or let go of? Whew, definitely got out of a not useful relationship, many years ago. What addictions are still stopping you from living your dreams? And what roles or personalities are you still clinging to? Right now we're switching it. We're like going like, okay, where have you been? But like, look, where are you headed? How often do you impulsively check your smartphone? How often do you impulsively eat or put other substances in your body? How is your ability to focus for long periods of time? How in tune are you with your own intuition? How much time do you spend thinking about your physical appearance? How much time do you spend worrying about the opinions of others? Now, I think what's happened here, right, is he's taken a bunch of the questions through the whole article and it kind of like summed them up as your homework, right? Your assignment. It's one thing to read through the article and be like, oh, these are good questions to ponder. The next step is to actually do it, actually ponder it, right? We talked about that in the last lesson. Like, it's one thing to do all this, but the next step is to actually do it. So that's that. The article, again, is called If You're Not Changing as a Person, Then You're Not Intelligent, according to Einstein. I will throw a link in the description down there as well, so you can have that. And in his kind of discussion with us about this, he also recommended the film Saving Mr. Banks. I don't know if I've mentioned this enough, I am the like the worst person when it comes to movies. Like, I've not seen anything. So apparently Saving Mr. Banks is like a super popular movie about like Walt Disney and something with Mary Poppins, yeah, and like the dad on there. But it's all about change, and he says it's amazing. It's like one of his top 10. I should probably watch it at some point when I have enough time and sleep from toddler. But if you got time for a movie, Saving Mr. Banks, highly, highly recommended by Benjamin Hardy. And the book, which he's actually mentioned before, is The Body Keeps Score. That has a lot to do with like healing past issues and traumas and really understanding how your body does hold on to issues like that. So The Body Keeps Score, that is a book to definitely check out. Read the article. This is kind of like the quick Reader's Digest version for people who want to hear like what I found profound in it. But again, get in there, and it's really just one big giant highlight. Like all of it was just so like I sent it to my husband, who doesn't even like reading. I was like, this one you got to do. Like, I have to. If I send him all the Benjamin Hardy articles, he's gonna. But this one, I was like, this one's the exception. You've got to do it. It's really that good. So go check that out. Go read it. Answer those questions. Have a profound, amazing week. Aha moments, realizations that you're like, wow, this is just all making sense and coming together, and I am just in charge of who I am and who I'm wanting to be and change to, and living a life by design. Like, I can't help but like just mantra that out in all of our lessons, because it's just so strong. It is not what's happening with most people, and that's what we're here to do. Okay, so if you like this lesson, hopefully you did. It was a lot of kind of all over the place. But click that subscribe button and you'll know when our next lesson is up. And if you want to take all these concepts and see how we use them to grow our business and organize our freaking life, then definitely check me out at Tanya MFK on Facebook and Instagram, where we talk about the balanced hustle. So not just about, business, we do skills and tips and all that, but we also talk about how to keep like a dose of reality and personal development in that as well, because we're whole people to be a wholepreneur. All right, so have a great week and I will see you next time. Bye.